Hello, I'm John Ryan.
And I'm JD Orr, and this is the Oh America. Wait, that's not right. A U.S. handball talk.
All right. It's a hint of the topic to come, or the post I did about the USA National Championships in Spokane and the number of Canadians that were there, which we can argue, we can quibble a little bit about the numbers and what it was, but without a doubt, there were more Canadians than Americans at our own national championships.
But we'll get to that.
But we'll get to that. First off, we have to talk about the North American Caribbean Handball Championships taking place in Mexico City at the Olympic Center there. USA last night played their first match, fell to Canada. Did you get a chance to check that out, JD? Are you still
Nope.
recovering?
I had a busy week away from life, I would say. So I'm completely disconnected. I saw the score posted. I at first, scrolling through Twitter, thought I saw it as 39-38, and I thought, man, that's a really high scoring handball game. Um, and I thought we won by one, and then I saw, in my attempts to dig deeper that it was 29-38, and we had actually lost by nine. And 38 goals to a Mexican team. I don't know a lot about the Mexican team. I know our team's kind of a hodgepodge mix of players, but a lot of goals either way.
Yeah, the margin was a little bit of a surprise. It wasn't a surprise to me as the match went on. Uh, it was pretty clear to me that the Mexican side was better than ours. The side that we had playing in this, we've talked about this before. How this is a second team, B team, but not exactly a B team, but it pretty
It's a
much
new
is.
collection of players, a new unit, I would say, because they're people that have been in the system just playing together now that they
It,
might not have played before.
and this is funny. I hate to admit this, but I was like watching this, and I got super excited, because I don't know some of these players, and I was like, going, "Damn, number 10, tall dude. I wonder who that is."
Oh,
And
that's the old man River here. So
it is. It's old man Benjamin Briff. Yeah, it's fine for him to play and stuff, but
yeah.
yeah, because I was like, wow, he's towering over everybody. Who is this guy?
Yeah. I mean, just look at your freeze frame here. He's dwarfing our team.
Yeah, yeah. So that was something that stood out for me a little bit was this is a little bit shorter team than well, Britt's a tall guy. He's
Yeah.
one of the few people I have to look up to, but a little bit shorter team than our first team. And again, I'm gonna call them first and second teams, even though they're not really, just for ease of purposes. Number four, there, Martin Brunvold. He played a pretty decent game, and I also thought Maxim McCauley had a nice game. We can even look at the stat sheet from last night. So NACHC up in their game with more data uh, being provided.
I think it's probably
This is
easier when it's close to home for him,
well,
maybe Mario, I don't know.
I was volunteering, helping them out, and I was doing everything on my own. Now they've got somebody put together a nice little website for them. Here's the score sheet from last night, match report.
I
Max
think
and
you got it on
McCauley.
a different screen. Are you sharing?
Ah, it's not showing up. My bad. Good call here. Um, huh. Oh, I have to go on to
Select a
the
different tab. Yeah.
darn it. So I stop share there, and then I click share screen. Here we go.
Technology, man.
Ah, you, you young whippersnappers,
Uh,
just can't figure out how to do things.
oh, you weren't
Um,
kidding. Macaulay, nice 5 goals. Okay.
5 goals, and he played circle runner the whole match. Um, and he looked like a circle runner. Did a solid job. And I think just about everybody on the U.S. team played well at times, but at times just about everybody played not so well. Very uh, disconnected. Didn't have good flow on offense. And you could tell they just hadn't played much with each other together.
I'm not going to question the score sheet, but um, it's saying that both of our goalies scored.
They
Is
did.
that
They
okay?
did. They took advantage of some empty net
Okay.
opportunities,
Just want
and
to
at
clarify.
the end of both halves,
Also,
nice.
two of the better players on the team not scoring any goals there, I'd say between Briffy
Yeah,
and Benjamin
Benjamin
Edwards.
Edwards. Benjamin Edwards did not have the best night. Um, and he and Matisse Walker shared the center back duties for the most
Okay.
part. And like I said, the team never seemed to get into a very good flow. And then defense, and there were a lot of turnovers, leading to some fast breaks where they just had one or two guys just getting out ahead of us and
Yep.
getting some easy shots. Um, yeah, Brick played a little bit at the beginning, mostly on defense, and then he came back in on offense later. Um, but yeah, we struggled, and that the score. I think the score reflects that. Um,
It was close
that
at
said,
halftime, it looks like.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
three goals.
they it was 3 goals, um, but I think they got out to maybe a 4 or 5 goal lead, and we came back a little bit there at the end of the half, and then as you see, they extended their lead in the second half. Some comments on social media, making the point that hey, we can't lose to Mexico, and I'm like, oh well, this isn't the same team we had last time, um, and that Mexico team, not a bad team. They beat Cuba um, last go round, which well, I think was a feather in their cap. Um, that was a big upset, but I saw them play. They played hard, and um, not the biggest team, but they're starting to get to know each other fairly well. And I suspect it will be either them or Greenland playing Cuba in the final. If I had to
Okay.
guess, I would say it'd be one of those three teams. Um, and based on never say never, the U.S. could come
Yeah.
back, maybe shake off some of those cobwebs, get the offense back in gear. There's some good athletes on that team, and I they play Puerto Rico later today, I believe. Let's share the screen back up, see if I can find what I want to find.
Yeah. Get the schedule out for everybody. I mean, that's where
Yeah,
I'm again living under a rock here for the last week and totally just missed that these games were, it was already happening. So,
yeah. There's going to be a game every day for the next 5 days. Let's see here.
oh, wow, this is quite the little report here.
Yeah, like I say, I was volunteering, doing everything all by myself, and I was like, oh well, I guess nobody cares whether I do this or not. And then, oh, somebody's doing a good job.
Yeah.
No complaints. There was day
So,
one. Day two,
okay.
this time is the same as Mountain Time, which is
Okay.
convenient for some of us. USA plays Puerto Rico later today at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, midnight for our friends in Europe. Um, if we lose to Puerto Rico,
Then we
this will
can,
be a different conversation.
yeah. Yeah.
We should beat that team, um, comfortably. I think we have
What
better players, more experienced players.
what was the score of the Puerto Rico Cuba game?
Cuba beat them handedly, 32-20.
or
34 to
34-17.
17,
Okay.
and then Greenland beat
Wow.
32 to 23.
Interesting. Okay.
So, well, like I said, I'm saying those three teams probably battling it out for the top two spots, but um, maybe our sample size isn't sufficient.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the USA's next game today versus Puerto Rico, and then on let's
Wednesday.
see, that's their game today. Wednesday they play Canada. Again, I think that's a match that we should be able to win. If I had to draw out a perfect schedule for the U.S., I probably, based on the new guys that we had, I probably would have gone with Puerto Rico and Canada to start out and
Get
gradually work
those,
your way up,
yeah,
um,
tune-up
rather
matches.
than rather than playing the host side or Greenland or Cuba. I This is a USA team that should get better as the tournament progresses,
Yep.
and they sort their roster out and get a better flow about what the guy next to them is doing. Um, and then on the fourth day, we do play Cuba, and then we wrap it up with a match against Greenland.
So everybody plays everybody, and then
Everybody plays everybody, and then they will have
rank it.
placing
Yeah.
games.
Yep.
So if I had to guess, we'll be in that third, fourth place match. But hey, um, let's play them on the court. You never know
Yep.
what's going to happen. This is a team that I know they can play better than what they did, for sure. Um, so,
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
but
Cool.
yeah, and it's all the matches are being streamed on the Mexican Olympic Committee
Facebook
web
page.
page, Facebook page. Um, just as an aside, that's the other thing I said. The North American Caribbean Handball Confederation doesn't have much of value, but the thing that we do have of value is those matches, and those matches should be on the North American and Caribbean Handball YouTube page. I'm going to get together and send that, resend some information I sent about, hey, this is
Yeah.
what we should do. And I'm not saying we can be Eurohandball.com, but NORCAhandball.com should be able to attract a following, and it should be the recognized go-to place for anyone in the North America and the Caribbean to say, hey, I need to go watch the match. Boom, it's going to be in the same place. Um, and maybe
Now,
even get our own little streaming channel someday. Who knows?
I think that's
But
definitely a goal to work towards. I think, I haven't looked, but how many followers does that Mexican Olympic page have? Because, you might catch some strays because they got a bigger following for now, kind of thing.
sure, sure. I mean, share the information on it,
Yeah.
but make
Redirect them
Norca
to,
handball
yeah.
mean something to people.
Yep.
And um, for everybody across the continent, put everything in English and Spanish, and move on from there. But that's a different topic, maybe
Yeah.
not the most exciting topic, but um, like I said, if you look back at the CONCACAF, or however you
Yeah.
pronounce it, and what a joke that was. And over time, you know, they they fund that organization is pretty much funded with USA qualification matches.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm saying the same thing's going to happen with NORCA handball, but maybe at some point we will get to the point where people will um, want to see this, and we can get a little bit of a positive cash flow. Um, I guess we could roll into nationals. That's going to be a
Yeah. Yeah.
commentary that I'm actually going to have about our wonderful
Oh,
Joyless streaming platform. I did not pay for it, but I saw some comments from people that were not happy with the quality of service. But
was it, I guess what was the price point for this event? Was it $5 for
The
the
price
weekend or?
point was reasonable. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think,
$5 to see every match. I just, I just, my own personal philosophy was, why are we charging people to watch handball in the United States?
agreed, agreed.
So
So
even though I can afford $5, I said, damn it, I am not paying for that. And you're not going to get me to pay for recreational handball. Would I have watched it on YouTube? Yeah, I would have watched some of it. Probably not, religiously, but out of curiosity,
yeah,
I would have
tuned
taken a
in.
look at it. But and I pay for the handball Bundesliga. I pay $40 a year for that.
I think the
Well worth it.
Bundesliga versus U.S. domestic handball games with mostly foreign teams is a different conversation. So
Yeah, yeah. So yes, it is. And we're talking about it.
yeah, yep.
It's like I know for the young kids out there and their parents, it's like, hey, a lot of schools they charge uh
Oh yeah,
they charge to watch
high
the varsity
school,
basketball
whatever.
game.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of like, but then it's like, well, it's
You
something
got
to help
grandma and
pay.
grandpa that want to tune in. Helps boosters pay for whatever.
Yeah, it costs to run a program, and I could say the same thing for USA Team Handball. The thing is, I don't think Rampart High School is looking to grow the volleyball and basketball game nationwide.
They only care
I
about
think
themselves.
I think the only people that are going to watch Rampart High School are Rampart High School family
Parents,
and the
family.
team that
Yep.
the team that they're playing. And they have it organized for that. Like I don't know if like it's the local conference here that you pay and you get like a season long for all the games. But that makes sense. The same way it makes you pay $5 or whatever to
To get
go
in.
to
Yeah.
a football or basketball match. But they have a different goal than the U.S. All right,
Yep.
and and well, I get on my soapbox again. Did you know this is going way back? The EHF charged for European Handball Championships. It was like I want to say it was either in 2006 or 2008,
Okay.
and it was an unmitigated disaster.
Oh, jeez.
The stream did not work. They had some American who was living in Italy, of all places, calling the matches who clearly knew nothing about
Oh,
handball.
jeez, Luis.
It was painful. And the comments that they got, social media wasn't as big back then, were brutal. And ever since then, I don't think the EHF is charged for anything.
Yeah, and
Um,
everything's on EHF TV for free. I mean,
yeah. So maybe that will change someday. And I've asked them, hey, are you guys going to change your streaming philosophy? Because this is the best damn deal in town. And I have been paying for the Bundesliga. Yeah, I'd certainly pay for knockout
yeah,
handball Champions
Champions
League
League.
matches.
Yeah,
Maybe not for some of those group game snoozers, but um, you just have to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? Is the marginal revenue that the U.S. is bringing in from people paying $5 to watch nationals worth the loss in terms of goodwill, in terms of uh, exposure to the game? Because you can't say, hey, you can't link, hey, to on social media, hey, pay $5 to go see
yeah.
the U.S. Championship. Nobody is going to do
Nope,
that
nope.
unless they love the sport. Even people that love the sport aren't going to
I,
pay it.
I'm
All
not.
right. It never even crossed your mind. I
No,
don't even know if you knew it was going on.
I
So,
I knew it was happening. I
all
was
right.
not planning to pay for either way. But it's one of those things that Joymo is also, I don't know I can't remember what the agreement was, but it's not like something like that's for free. So there's definitely some kind of partnership with them, whether that's we have a paid subscription or paid, because the plan was to have a channel, and basically have sub channels within the USA Handball network. Um, but if you're not getting the influx of people, then are you even being able to pay for the service? And that's kind of another question of I think you look at EHFTV and the people that go to EHFTV or go to YouTube for the streams, like I think there's the numbers speak for itself there. I mean, even heck, like Facebook, we'll have a random Ohio State Facebook, live stream game on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, and I'm still getting 10 people tuning in for that, and that's no advertisement, just hitting go, and people just stumble across it. So if you had a good marketing campaign to get it out there and had it on a public, you know, avenue, like I think you'd get a decent number of people tuning in.
Yeah, I think the other question that has to be asked is what's the level of quality that
True,
you're
true.
getting?
Both the
And
on the court and the quality of the stream. So
yeah, and that's like, hey, maybe if the quality is bad, um, maybe it's something you shouldn't be advertising. And when I interviewed the British handball chair, we actually talked about that a little bit because um,
they're
they
set up for
worked
their
hard.
game with Greenland.
They worked hard for the optics of that, and if you have bad optics, maybe it's best to just quietly make it available for the people that really care, and it's not something you really want to. It's not something you want to say, "Hey, look at us," when it's like,
Yeah.
"Wow, this is
What is
this is
this?
Ohio State,
Yeah.
and the cameras up, on the
Yep.
court level, and I can't see anything, and it's fuzzy." It's like,
Yep.
wow, yeah, you guys are big time.
Yep. 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 And that's where, I make it a stress to these kids when we go to have games to make sure we have proper, setup. Like if we can get with the university to get access to Wi-Fi or have an Ethernet link that we can have a streamlined approach to make sure it's good quality, whether it's using OBS or using softwares to put overlays of scoreboards and things like that. It can make the difference, but inherently a lot of the places we play, we're never going to get the camera angles we want to make it a
Yeah.
true valuable production.
Yeah, it's something that I've talked about. Like I said, I've thought about sponsoring a tournament. If I do sponsor a tournament, we're going to have a decent uh, video production. I
Yeah.
think that's important. And you know what? I don't even know if it has to be streamed. I think,
You could film it and then repost it later. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
because like we
And
said, the number of people that are tuning in are less than 100,
like I
live.
got to know the score right now. Probably not too
No.
high. All right, so this was. I'm going to do three commentaries on the Nationals, even though I didn't attend. I've got some thoughts. All right. Um, and the first one was on you know, it was more nationality uh, as opposed to locality issue,
Hmm.
and where people were from at this event. Second one, I'm going to talk a little bit about locality and where some of the players are coming from, which is a little bit different than nationality. Because I got zero problems with uh, expats living in San Francisco, playing for San Francisco. I
Yep.
think that is awesome. Um, and it's not just expats. If somebody's living in a town where they have a handball team but plays for somebody else, that's that doesn't help grow our game as
Yep.
much. Um, but I'll work that
We'll get to
commentary
that.
later.
Yeah.
And the third one is going to be about streaming. So talking to you help me work my thoughts out. Um, but with the Nationals that they just played, and the number of Canadian teams, not a new thing. This actually happened in 2019. We actually had more Canadian women in Myrtle Beach than American women. From my very weak methodology of looking at
Okay.
people's
I was gonna
names
say,
and
yeah.
deciding, all right. And I've already been chastised a little bit. Mishi told me there's 7 Americans on the uh,
Okay.
on the Cali team, and I look at those names and I go, damn, our country is a melting pot, you know. And some of those are probably most of them probably naturalized, which still is kind of an issue, if you're talking about growing the game,
Yep.
bringing new people in. that five number is pretty damn accurate. If you're talking about somebody born and raised in the United States and playing handball for one of the three uh, U.S. based teams, it might even be less. Okay.
How many
Um,
women's teams total did we have?
we had five women's teams. We had
Okay.
Quebec under 25 and Alberta under 21, and then Cal Heat, New York City, and San Diego.
Okay.
So, and I have the results too. We could. Do you want to go through the results? I guess we could.
Yeah, we could touch on them here
Uh, all
if we
right.
have time.
So,
I don't know.
does that show up now? The
Yep.
results?
Yep.
Okay. Um, yeah. So there was three divisions. There were five women's teams, and we'll look at the standings. Um, since we're talking about the women, we'll start with the women. How's that sound?
Easy. Yep.
Easy. Yeah. So the New York City women won all their matches, and I'm thinking this final standings includes
Yeah,
the
'cause you got
placing
6 games.
matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they played five. They played a full round. Well, no, wait a second. They did have semifinals. My bad. Yeah, so they played a full round robin, and then they had semifinals and finals. Um, in New York City and Quebec played in the final with no, it's something I hadn't seen near. I think they have the MVPs and whatnot here. So it looks like the New York City women uh, got the
Took care of
MVP
business.
and MV goalie. Um, they played a close game, I think, with the Quebec team, but they came out in the end. But one of the comments that and even Mishi said that without the Canadian teams participating to make it five teams, that would have been a pretty lame competition with just three women's teams
Yeah.
participating. Um, and it's not so much I don't mind the Canadian. Well, I mean that's a question. Do we mind the Canadian teams coming in to play at our national championships?
So there was a this debate came up very heavily, I think, pre-COVID about the allowance of foreign teams at our national championships. And if I remember correctly, thinking back to it was a very long email thread with all the players basically, and it was fairly divided, where some people really did not want them because this is not a open championship. This is a US based championship, and so it should be US based teams. And then there was others that are like, well, we already have athletes from all over the world coming in to play for it. So what difference does it make if a team is mostly collected of those individuals? Um, and I don't know. I mean, I went to the Canadian National Championships one year and we played, and there's a Gary Heinz's German team was there and they just cleaned house. Like it wasn't even fun for them. But I don't know. I don't really have it to me, none of it means anything because it's not your qualification. Like it'd be one thing if there was the winner moves on to some other tournament or the winner gets something. That's where it would make a difference. So like if, you know, the winner of this gets a spot at the tournament for Super Globes, but you could also have the winner of the Canadian National Championships and the Mexican National Championships gets a spot as well, and then you're having teams be able to have multiple chances to get to that spot. That's where the conversation needs to, I
Yeah.
think, be
Well,
focused.
there were no Canadian teams in the. They I think they called the team the divisions Division One and Division Two
Yeah.
instead of elite because I don't think there was any elite competition this year. Um, or if there was just one event.
Well, yeah, it was all under the union. I think all competition really.
But
There
I
was
think the
one.
Cal. I don't know. Maybe the
Cal
Cal
Cup
Cup
was dual
dual.
coverage.
So they rather than having elite, they called it D1 and D2. All the Canadian men's teams were in the D2. Um, and I think they were probably that's where they belonged. Um, although I would think that maybe Boston and Denver might have fit in better with that grouping of teams. I don't know for sure. They didn't play each other. All right, so we're uh, down to 10 minutes. So, but we had some good discussion, so we're
Yeah.
good. Um, there's pros and cons. I mean, it's fun to play new teams.
Yeah.
But then again, it's also national championships. I wasn't so much thinking about whether we allow the Canadian teams or not, just as a like kind of a statement, of like, wow, we have more Canadians than Americans,
Yeah.
and not to legislate them out, but that shouldn't happen.
No, no. I mean,
It says something that that's happening.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think, again, what's wild to me is Saskatchewan bringing, two teams, both junior teams, and I don't know what's going on in Saskatchewan. I know that they typically will bring a junior team, at least one, to our national championships, but when I think of like strong Canadian footholds of handball, Alberta's, the spot where I think there's a lot more going on. But I could be wrong. I don't guess I don't
And
know what's going on in Saskatchewan.
I think the Prairie Selects are from Manitoba. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure on that. But if that's the case, if they're from Saskatchewan, that would be three teams.
Yeah. That'd
Um,
be crazy. And I guess, the big piece is it's not cheap to come from, any of those, like whether you're coming from Saskatoon or from Calgary or Edmonton or wherever. I mean, it's not exactly a cheap trip. So, a lot of money and time
it's
invested.
probably not bad for them to like fly into Denver and then take a connector to Spokane or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what their route of travel is. I mean, Canadians suffer from the same problems that we have in terms of distance. They do a fair amount of traveling to play handball as well. There was an Edmond team that played in the Northeast Handball League one
Oh, geez, Louise.
year.
That's crazy.
That's dedication. That's
That's
dedication.
crazy.
Um, but yeah, so we and I guess it says something for the way Canada set up. They're very similar to the U.S., but the way they are organized by province kind of facilitates the mostly Canadian, if not all Canadian teams that they have. Whereas with the way we're structured, we have nothing kind of given like a top level support, um, other than the individual clubs themselves. And I think those individual clubs are more than happy to to take expats on because they're already motivated and um, they're willing to pay, pay to play.
Yep.
Um, Whereas the Canadians, there's a little bit more of a grassroots flavor in how they do things, and I think that's partly due. It's easier for them to get sports sanctioned into high school, and they also don't have the same collegiate infrastructure.
Right.
They have scholarships, but they're nothing compared to an American scholarship. So I think the sports landscape is more spread out, more egalitarian in Canada than it is in the United States, and that's allowed them to, um, even though they're 10th of the population, they have just as many players, if not more, than we
Playing
have
handball.
playing handball. A lot of our size is masked by teams that are primarily expat, and um,
I
I'm
mean,
not
look at the
100%
teams
sure.
right there. I'd say I think you went into it on the men's side, but it's a pretty steep expat conglomerate, I would think, especially at
And
the Division One.
yes, for sure. And I think Denver had quite a few Americans, but I don't know exactly what their composition is. Um, and then at Cal Heat too, I think was majority American. But I think those are the only two teams that had a majority side where it was majority
Yeah,
players being Americans. Um,
I just looked at flights. Edmonton and Saskatoon to Seattle, for instance, were fairly reasonable price. So uh, less than $400 round trip. So not too bad.
yeah, and hey, it's great to bring teams in and very similar capability. It's I don't know. I'm of two minds. Maybe we should have like an open tournament and a closed tournament, you know,
Yeah,
or we could have a fun little tournament every year with the top two teams from Canada and the top two teams from the U.S. playing each other, or something like that. Even bring in the Mexican teams.
Mexicans.
Why
Yep.
why not? something like that, as opposed to when you're trying to say, okay, this is our national champion. Um, and maybe I'm going to write another commentary about Division One. The California Eagles, based out of Bergen, Norway, took the title. I'm only
Yeah,
halfway
half
being
joking.
sarcastic.
Yeah,
They had some they had a lot of contributors, but yeah, the two guys playing for the first division side in Norway who wrapped up their season after losing to Elverum. I'm sure that this was competition where their skills uh, probably helped them push them over the top. It's not
yep,
to say other teams haven't done that. I mean, New York City last year they had two guys from Montpellier playing on their team.
yeah,
I
yep,
what are we trying to accomplish? All right.
exactly. What does the winning
What
do?
well, I think it gives them a super globe berth. I don't know for sure. I
And
don't know
what
what
does
the
that
rules.
what does that accomplish? That's the big thing. It's the Super
Things
Globe
on your
does.
perspective.
Yep, yep.
If I was an athlete and I had an opportunity to go to the Super
Super
Globe,
cool. Absolutely.
I'd probably be all
Yep.
over. I might have even left the Condors to go play for
Just
Garden City.
yep.
No, that would not never, no, never would have happened, even if they wanted me, which they probably wouldn't. They had
Eh,
plenty of plenty of talent on their team. Um, but yeah, and it's funny. I saw looking at the rosters. I was going like,
mhm.
well, those are the two best teams, and they were placed in
Same
the
group.
same group. They played each other right off the top. And I said like, well, this is going to decide who gets uh, a rest
Thought.
game, a
Yeah.
rest while the other team plays. And sure enough, the New York City, beat the all the teams in the first in the A group beat the B group anytime they played each other. Um, so they finished 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
and that's why I say that you know maybe the teams in the B league in the B group might have been better in Division Two. We only got a couple minutes. I want to give a quick shout out to the Cal Heat two team. Because I think like I said, they were majority. Uh, some of them married, some were not, but a lot of
Yeah.
them played in their youth league, and that's ideally that's how we would do things. Is have a team like that competing, doing well, and then moving up into the first division. Some of those players, graduating into an upper team after they've shown what they can do in the second division.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely something to look forward to. I mean, Cali's always been a pretty model club to build after. So that's definitely something everybody should be looking forward to working towards is building up that infrastructure.
But well, like I said, I didn't see any of the matches.
I got nothing to comment on that front.
Nothing
So
to
I didn't.
comment on. I did have some thoughts. I shared them on the overall nationality perspective. Next week we'll talk a little bit more maybe about what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, because it's a big question is why do we play the game? So
Sometimes you just play for fun, and
yep,
that's cool.
and that's
You
fine.
know. Yeah. Well, all right. Let me stop the stop the share and hey, JD. I will give you a call afterwards. There's a couple items I wanted to
Okay,
chat with you. Well,
sweet.
we'll see if you can talk or not. But
Okay.
for JD Orr, I'm John Ryan, and thanks for listening.